Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? It's what is it now? I forgot how long it's been for since we've been having this lockdown. It must have been 6, 7 weeks now. Welcome back. It's a sunny Thursday here, at least in Vancouver, and hopefully in other parts of Western Canada and across Canada. And welcome back to another episode of Remax Facebook Live Interview, the Voices in Real Estate. This live interview will take place every week for viewers in the real estate industry to learn and become better Remax real estate agents. Within Remax, we believe in strength in numbers, where people are open to share their knowledge and experiences with others, so Remax agents and the rest of the industry can better serve their clients. So today's topic is actually a very timely one, I guess, because everybody's thinking of other ways to do showings because we're limited to what we can do. So the topic today is virtual technologies for real estate. And we have our special guest today is Leon Ng, founder of LNG Studios. So let's get him on the screen. Hey, how's it going?
Great, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. And it's I think it's been 6 weeks and 7 weeks now. And yesterday we've at least in BC, and I think BC is probably the last in Western Canada to announce a reopening plan. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's been too
exciting
long.
for. It's been way too long. And I guess you're in the real estate business too, in a way, in a different way. And people in the real estate business are extroverts mostly, and we can't wait to get back out there and
For sure.
start to connect with people. So, well, welcome, and maybe give yourself a little bit of an introduction to our viewers here, so they have a little bit of a background
Yeah,
of
sure.
who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so LNG Studios is my company. We're a visualization company that specializes in architectural 3D renderings, animation, emerging technologies such as VR, AR, and 3D printing. So a little history about myself. I started my career in real estate, servicing agents through traditional new media platforms. My first company that started 15 years ago was a company called Real Estate Channel. We were providing marketing and advertising services for realtors through traditional TV and online syndication through various platforms. So this was before YouTube was around, and we slowly expanded the business across Canada on Rogers, Saskatoon, MTS. Then I wanted to get into pre-sale marketing. I wanted to work with developers, and that's when LNG Studios started. I actually started during the financial crisis in 2009, and during that time, there was obvious gaps in the real estate space, and the industry was really lacking innovation, especially in the visualization realm. And so throughout the decade, I've sort of helped introduce new technologies such as 3D scanning, aerial drone, 3D printing, VR, AR, and now digital intelligence for the industry. And I guess together we've helped market over 100,000 listings and 1,500 pre-sale developments globally.
Wow. So you've actually went through one tough market back in when you
Yeah,
started in this real estate.
yeah, we see opportunities like in a down market like this. There's tons of opportunities out there, right? So, it was a very timely. It was good timing for us to start the business then. There were definitely some gaps.
Exactly. Awesome. So we have a couple of people on the chat here, and Scott actually corrected me. We're in day 55. Thanks, Scott, for letting me know. And Kara's from St. Albert's in the Edmonton area. And we got Sean and Shannon. Good morning, everybody. So whenever you guys have questions throughout the conversation, by all means, type it in there. We'll try our best towards the end to answer some of your questions. And of course, and if you have questions afterwards, Leon would be happy to kind of answer them for you afterwards anyways. So let's get started. We're obviously in a very different world now, and everybody's, and especially in the real estate industry, we're trying to adapt to leveraging new technologies to, I guess, showcase the homes themselves. It's interesting how something else is that Zoom. A lot of people, everybody has been using Zoom actually, regardless of what industry you're in. And 2 months ago, a lot of people didn't want to get on camera, didn't even want to use a camera. And now we're talking about 3D cameras and everything like that. But in your point of view, how have COVID-19 impact real estate agents specifically to this kind of new norm?
Yeah, so we've seen a huge, massive transformation in the last couple months. It's really forcing the physical and digital realms to work together and come together. And social distancing has really forced the buyers to really change their house hunting habits. And realtors are, they have a duty to follow direction of health professionals and minimize physical interactions. So I can see how this could be a huge challenge for a lot of agents. The power dynamic has really shifted from the agent to the buyers. The agents are having less FaceTime interactions with the buyers to potentially close a deal. And the buyers are constantly looking for new ways to experience a home buying experience, allowing them to visit properties from the comfort of their homes. And the sellers and developers are now looking for new ways to increase sales and optimize their buying experience and create deeper relationships with customers remotely and continue to generate meaningful leads. So we've seen a dramatic increase in inquiries and demand for immersive experience. And to me, I believe that these tools are reaching tipping points and will become the new norm for every listing moving forward.
Awesome, awesome. And I mean, we talked about virtual showings, and we talked quite a bit about it. And what kind of technology do people actually use then, right? I mean, a lot of people are new to this, and obviously they don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars just to get started. That'll break their bank if anything.
Absolutely.
But there's got to be a way to start this, right? And how do you maybe kind of go over what you would kind of recommend for beginners, and then maybe for those there's really tech savvy agents out there that are doing something similar already. How do they become pros at it then?
Yeah. Okay. So there's no one size that fits all. I'm going to talk about 3 different tools here, and they all have their pros and cons. But none of these require the buyer to be there physically. So in addition to traditional photos and videos and floor plans, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is Instagram Live. So anybody with a phone with Instagram can go live, ideally with a gimbal, which is a miniature Steadicam. So this can happen in real time with no editing required. You basically can still control the messaging, just like how you are in the open house. It's quick, it's direct, it's low to almost no cost. The downside of this, though, is when you're shooting off your phone, it doesn't really do the property justice, right? And if you don't have a gimbal, the experience could be quite jarring for your audience. And of course, your buyers have to have Instagram, and it just really is a different target demographic. So that's sort of the limitation there. The second technology that it's been the most popular right now in the last few months, it's called Matterport. So this Matterport technology, we were the first company to introduce this tech to Canada 5 years ago. It's a company in Silicon Valley. It's a proprietary technology that 3D scans your entire space in 3D using a 3D camera. So I'm going to show you a quick demo here. Just share my screen here.
For sure.
All right. We know we can see it. Okay, there you go. So yeah, so this is a space that we scanned on West 32nd. So you can walk around it almost like Google Street View, but the inside. The entire space is captured in 3D. And so you can have a 3D dollhouse view here. You can move it around. You can go back in here. And usually this takes around a few hours for this size property to scan, and it's a same day turnaround. So it's very, very efficient. So again, it's shareable across all platforms on desktop and mobile. It's low cost. We're talking about in the hundreds. The pricing is usually based by square footage. And also, if you want to save costs on photos, you can take screenshots of this and use it for your brochures or your website. So it's quite efficient there. The downside of this, though, is you got to have less control over the narrative. This is a fully interactive experience. It allows the buyer to roam around freely, pretty much unguided. So the 3D scan captures everything. So if you have any deficiencies in your home or a bad layout or blemishes, it's going to capture everything. Photoshop's not going to help.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
also on a bright sunny day, it won't capture exterior. So that's sort of the limitation there. However, this has been the most busy time for us. We've probably scanned around 350 properties since the pandemic started. So this has been a really big hit for us. So yeah, so let me go back
So
to,
within 2 months.
yeah, it's been crazy, like 30, 40 properties a day. So it's been a busy time for us, yeah. So the third thing I want to talk about is something called video walkthrough. Let me just quickly play it first so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about here. Sorry, it's not the right one. Okay.
Hi there, my name's Tobias. I'm with Aquilini Development, and today I'm pleased to give you a tour of Boardwalk.
So this is like a one-click and the video plays. It's hosted by the agent herself.
In Tawasin and Aquilini's second neighborhood in this area.
So it gives you a sense here. So it can be completely scripted like a sales pitch. You can control the messaging. It's a very linear one-way communication tool that lasts maybe around 1 to 5 minutes long. And you know, the downside is the turnaround time could take a little longer, maybe up to a week, because you have to do the scripting. It takes a day of shooting.
Post-editing.
Yeah, post-editing, a few days of editing. And also you have to be comfortable on camera. You have to be quite engaging. So those are the 3 tools that we're seeing today that's very, very popular in the resale market. And if the budget, if there is budget, there are other technologies such as virtual reality that gives you a next level experience. But usually for that, it's more popular in the pre-sale market.
Right. And you mentioned about just taking it live, and you also mentioned like using a gimbal itself, because what happens is a lot of people, and I see it now too, like people are really trying. They grab a phone, they go in there and start shooting, right? And you see people just shaking their hands like no tomorrow, and I can't really see what's going on. But one of the gimbals that I guess I would recommend is that there's a DJI Osmo, which is pretty affordable. So DJI, basically, that's how you OSMO, and we're not a sponsor of them. It's just a recommendation for everybody. I think it comes around $160, $170. I mean, you can just put it, you put your phone on there and stabilizes yourself, so you get better quality videos, right?
Absolutely.
And it's these small things that can make a difference overall too. And you mentioned the last one, about even though yes, it's more for developers at this point, but actual virtual realities, and maybe talk a little bit about that part too.
Yeah,
how does that work?
Yeah, so VR is mainly used for a space that's not been built yet. So we would basically render out the entire space in 3D, and someone can put their headset on and visualize the space as if it's already built. So there are a few services out there, but one we would recommend for the most immersive is something called room scale VR, which allows you to physically actually walk around in space. Right, you can duck and you jump and set, like it's basically like a video game, but imagine you immersing in your space. So we see a lot of popularity in the design world with architects when they are doing design studies. They want to make iterations and they don't want to spend a lot of money actually building out the space and realizing that a wall shouldn't be there. They'll build those things in VR, and we see it a lot in final marketing, mainly for marketing and PR purposes, right? So we worked on a project, this was maybe 3.5 years ago with Concord Brentwood, where we gave away 10,000 VR headsets to agents, and they were just giving out to buyers. They can experience it from the comfort of their homes.
Wow. That's awesome. So, I mean, that still works. As I know, there's agents within Remax that they sell new homes, just as is, right? Detached homes. So that can be applicable for those ones if they have multiple. I mean, obviously the cost is much higher, but if they're selling multiple homes, that may be similar in that sense. That can give
Yeah.
people a sense of that, right?
Yeah. So my view with VR is I think it's going to get there, but it's not quite there yet. It hasn't been full adoption, even though through the pandemic, VR headsets were completely sold out the first few weeks. Mostly for gaming, right? But
Right.
the adoption is not 100% there yet. It is getting there. I think there's still a barrier of someone putting on a physical headset, right? And it's not for everyone. So the future would be like if you could wear just glasses or even contact lens, which is something that they're developing right now. So that's far down in the future. Well, not too far, but
Not too
it's getting.
far. Well,
Yeah.
things have changed even just the last 3-4 years itself. You'll be surprised, right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
and we've talked about a couple of things already, but what kind of, I guess, more hardware and software, and more than the software, we haven't touched on software side of things. Is there something that people can use to, say if they were doing virtual showings and they want to do some trimming and things like that? How would you recommend them to go about doing that easily? I guess to.
Yeah. So in terms of like, so my recommendation here is if you don't want to use Instagram Live and you don't want to do I see this as like ROI, like the amount of time that you gotta let's just say take your own camera, try to shoot this. I believe it is much better to hire a local vendor to get them to do this for you. These are vendors that basically do this on a daily basis, right? They shoot 30 or 40 properties a day, so they know exactly where to shoot, how to shoot it. And so so my first recommendation is try to find a local vendor. I mean, the pricing is quite affordable these days. But if you really do want to do it yourself, the good news is Matterport just released a new iPhone app on the iPhone. So you can actually scan your entire space by yourself now through just a subscription. So the example that I showed you earlier, it is possible that you do it by yourself. Of course, it might take some time. So if you want to save costs, that's another option.
Right. So you mean it doesn't work for Androids?
Not yet, not yet.
We gotta get Matterport going here for Androids too.
For sure.
Well, because a lot of people do use Android phones too, but I know there's more people that are using the iPhone these days. At least for now. Who knows about what
Yeah.
happens in the future? But that's for another debate. But the challenge with a lot of agents, like we talk about this is they're not techie, right? They're just not techie. And you mentioned that maybe having someone to do it, but there are people that are, I guess, especially with COVID, it's pushing them to think, okay, well, I was never techie, but maybe it's something I should start to adapt and do this, right? Maybe I should change the way I do business itself. So how do you start? Like if you want to just at least get some learning, or at least try some stuff, and they might not like it, they might still hire somebody else, but what's the mindset for them to go about, maybe I should change?
I think the fact that you're watching this segment is a good start, so you know what's out there. But I would also continue to talk to the local vendors, because they're the guys that are in the front lines. They know exactly what are the latest tech. And with the new Matterport app right now, a lot of the technologies start catching up. So that it's like there's a lot of do-it-yourself solutions out there. And so this Matterport, I'll try to share a link after this somehow. But this announcement is actually really huge for the industry, because it really allows anybody with a phone to scan any physical space. And that's by far the most efficient way that I can see us moving forward. And I do believe in the long run, a lot of things are going to be captured in 3D. And this is not just changing real estate, it's changing retail, it's changing lots of different industries. So I would say if you're looking for new technologies, Matterport is definitely ahead of the game right now.
Awesome. So, so now we're coming down towards the end of the session itself, and usually I ask everybody, so what's their Remax Hustle Tip? And even though you're not with Remax, but that's okay. You're still going to give a Remax hustle tip for everybody here. So what would be your Remax hustle tip for everybody here?
Yeah, so I think there's a one in a century opportunity out there right now for everyone, and it's important to quickly adapt to new environments. For us, innovation has been our key to success. So we need to continue to innovate or else you get left behind. So I think the new norm is here. So we all really need to rethink our current processes. So
right.
Yeah,
that's a very good tip, because even if we look back, I mean, in the 80s and 90s, real estate agents still carried their books with listings and things like that, right? I mean, that was the way to go. There's no internet, no computer and things like that. But I mean, look fast forward today. I mean, data is transparent just about for everybody. Regardless if you're a consumer, you can just go online and find whatever information you need. And I guess before we end this, there is one thing that I guess you guys have done really well lately. Is that you guys got a 3D printer and made use of it, really good use of it. You want to talk about that? What you guys did with it?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually acquired one of my competitors earlier, late February, and one of their skill sets was 3D printing. So we were 3D printing architectural models for IBI and MCM. And so when COVID hit, there was a huge shortage of face shields, PPE, for frontline workers. So we pivoted our department to start 3D printing face shields. And I had went on the news, got a lot of press from that, and because we could only produce maybe 40 or 50 a day. So after again on the press, we were able to rally a group of around 350 local 3D printers. They're all 3D printing face shields for our front line. So that was a really interesting, experience for me for a very short period of time there. But yeah.
No, that's very good and very creative, right? And you mentioned about when things happen, you look for opportunities. But in this sense, this opportunity is not for yourself, but more for taking care of your own community, which all real estate people should be looking to do, right? And who knows, down the road, when this is COVID kind of dies down, and we can start looking at 3D printers to create these ones for extra protection for all of us, because real estate is an essential business.
Yeah.
Right? Real estate is an essential business. So
for sure,
people that are out there, regardless of real estate or any other industry that's essential, they need to be taking care of themselves too, right? Because they're interacting with most people. So that's it. And if there's anybody with any questions, Leon would be happy to kind of answer them afterwards. And thank you for coming on the show, and we appreciate your time, and look forward to maybe pick your brains at some point later on too. Okay.
For sure.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.